would say early in the fight, Canelo, and earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years.
That'd be interesting. I'll tell you that.
What do you think?
I don't know. You know, it's a big jump to go from 54, which was a step up from 47, right?
Now
so it
he's
goes to
going to
54, now he's going to
68.
68. That's so much weight.
A lot of weight.
Do you think Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he can.
Max Kellerman recently joined Joe Rogan to deliver a bold and unexpected prediction for the highly anticipated showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Known for his sharp boxing insight and knack for spotting trends others overlook, Kellerman surprised fans by suggesting this clash could completely reshape both fighters' legacies while potentially crowning a new pound-for-pound king. He highlighted Canelo's explosive power, durability, and extensive experience facing elite opponents as undeniable strengths. However, what caught listeners off guard was a shift toward praising Crawford's exceptional adaptability and ring intelligence. According to Kellerman, while Canelo has thrived at the highest levels in recent years, Crawford's ability to read opponents, make adjustments mid-fight, and gradually break them down could ultimately tilt the outcome in his favor. Kellerman's perspective adds new intrigue to an already electrifying matchup.
Okay, so then a little bit of this and that between Canelo and Crawford. I'll give you a list of attributes, and then tell me who do you feel is best in that attribute. First attribute, best jab.
Crawford.
Best defense.
Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo, and earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring. But, you know, early in his career, he had a problem with that and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned Canelo's power, so who I would assume Canelo has.
You'd have to think, unless Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov. So, and Canelo, though he has not stopped anyone in a while, we've seen he's a real puncher at 68.
As far as speed, who has a better speed?
You would imagine Crawford, given the fact that he is the naturally smaller fighter, and I would assume he could maintain that advantage going into this fight.
Last attribute, ring IQ.
They both have sky-high ring IQs. If I have to, Crawford. If you ask me again, there's a reason that I think Crawford's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
Max Kellerman is officially making a high-profile return to boxing commentary as part of Netflix's broadcast team for the blockbuster Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight on September 13th, 2025. This event marks his first major on-air boxing role since his departure from ESPN in 2023, signaling a major comeback for the veteran analyst. Kellerman will join John and Nick and Andre Ward on commentary, adding his trademark sharp insight and decades of boxing knowledge to what is expected to be one of the most watched and talked about events of the year. During the announcement of his return, Kellerman described the fight as a perfect storm and shocked many by declaring that Crawford, not Canelo, currently deserves recognition as boxing's pound-for-pound king. He noted that while Alvarez once held that prestigious spot, it is now Crawford who has risen to the very top.
I want to bring up the first member of our broadcast team. He is the best boxing analyst in the sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Max Kellerman.
All right, so I know you guys are excited about this fight, but I don't think you understand what a big deal it is. This is a perfect storm, First of all, Turki Al-Sheikh, we're lucky he happens to be a boxing fan. None of this happens if he doesn't happen to be a boxing fan. It's just none of us are here. Nick Khan, the best in the business. Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter of my lifetime. And it's his first ever boxing promotion. So that's who's behind what you're going to see. Do you know who's the best pound for pound fighter in the world? The most recent one. Bud Crawford. Apologies to the monster and Usyk. Bud Crawford has my vote for best pound for pound. Who was the best pound for pound before Bud? Canelo Alvarez, universally recognized that way. But it's not just these two guys, the last two best pound for pound fighters in the world. There haven't been that many. Before Canelo, who do you have? Before Canelo, Floyd or Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather. Before you could take the lineage back. There have only been, 25 or 30 fighters who ever lived who you said that's the best pound for pound fighter in the world. These are two of them, the last two. And they're gonna fight in Las Vegas on September 13th. Canelo is 62-2 with 2 draws, 62-2. So was Marvin Hagler when Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to fight him. They produced one of the biggest spectacles in the history of boxing. This fight is a perfect storm. I could not be more excited to be a part of it.
Joe Rogan has openly stated that his lean is toward Terence Crawford in the highly anticipated matchup against Canelo Alvarez. He points to Crawford's unmatched versatility and high-level ring intelligence as the decisive factors that could give him the edge. Rogan noted that Canelo has slowed down in recent years, transitioning from a dynamic combination puncher into more of a single-shot power striker. In contrast, Rogan views Crawford as extraordinary, one of the most fluid switch hitters since Marvin Hagler, capable of seamlessly transitioning between orthodox and southpaw stances while remaining equally effective. On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan and veteran commentator Jim Lampley debated Crawford's chances against Canelo, offering starkly different takes. Rogan leaned firmly toward Crawford, highlighting his precision, adaptability, and improved physique after bulking up to meet Canelo's size. He believes this could allow Crawford to outbox Alvarez. Lampley, however, while praising Crawford as a modern-day Sugar Ray Robinson, expressed more faith in Canelo's renowned power, counterpunching ability, and iron chin, emphasizing that Alvarez's lower body strength could ultimately blunt Crawford's offense.
Yeah.
Shoot, what
Go
about
get away.
Crawford and Canelo?
What do you think of that?
Personally, I'm
Yeah.
a big Crawford fan, so I'm going to lean his way. My only concern is just the size. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't look like Terrence's power transferred in the last fight, so
With
now it's coming
Majmam?
up some more. You know
I
what I
think
mean?
part of the problem with that is Majmam's really good.
Yeah,
He's really fucking
I mean,
good.
but I just think Crawford is. It's weird to say against Canelo, but I think he's the better boxer, and I think he's the guy who can make the better in-fight adjustments if Canelo doesn't kill him.
It's gonna be interesting. I'll tell you that.
What do you think?
I don't know. It's a big jump to go from
Yeah, that-
54, which was a step up from 47, right?
Now
So it
he's
goes to
going to
54, now he's going to
68.
68. That's so much
A
weight.
lot of weight.
But Terrence is I think he's the best switch hitter since Hagler.
They claim Hagler was my favorite. They claim he's walking around like a $190 or something.
Yep.
And you do know he's a wrestler.
In a separate interview, Jim Lampley firmly backed Canelo Alvarez to defeat Terence Crawford, despite acknowledging Crawford as the most complete fighter in boxing today. Lampley argued that while Crawford's skill set is extraordinary, the outcome of this fight will largely hinge on weight and experience. He emphasized that Canelo, naturally stronger at 168 pounds and battle-tested in countless championship bouts, has the size, strength, and pedigree needed to offset Crawford's versatility and ultimately secure the advantage.
Canelo's smart. Absolutely, he's smart. He knows this business as well as anybody. So no, it's not surprising that Canelo learned from Floyd and has employed some of that in the retention of his career. Canelo still knows how to make fireworks when he absolutely has to make fireworks. But at the end of the day, he's a counterpuncher. He's a great defender. He has the most solid punch resistance of anybody in the sport. Nobody's ever knocked him off balance. Nobody's ever really knocked him down. There's only one official knockdown in his career, and it was because he bounced off the ropes when Jose Cotto hit him with a hard shot to the chest. And the referee employed a strict interpretation of the rules and said, oh, the ropes held you up, so that's a knockdown. He's never been put on his back by anybody. He rides horseback every morning. His legs are the strongest in the sport. You're not going to beat Canelo.
Legendary commentator Teddy Atlas has made it clear that while Canelo Alvarez is an exceptional fighter, Terence Crawford impresses him even more. So much so that he refuses to bet against him. Atlas credits Crawford's unique mix of speed, adaptability, defensive mastery, and mental toughness as potential game changers in the matchup. He praised Crawford's elite ring IQ and seamless switch hitting ability, describing him as that special guy whose mindset elevates him. Though acknowledging the weight gap, Atlas believes Crawford's skill and character could ultimately prevail.
Maybe he's a little overrated. Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds.
Canelo's really good. Really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moved up in weight class, can he carry it, but those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
Stephen A. Smith has predicted that Terence Crawford will outpoint Canelo Alvarez by decision. Speaking on the All the Smoke Fight podcast, Smith acknowledged Canelo's greatness and punching power, but argued that Crawford's speed, movement, and technical brilliance, especially his seamless ability to switch stances, would give him the edge. He emphasized that Canelo's heavy reliance on power shots could ultimately be his downfall, stating, "If you can box and you can move, you can beat Canelo." While noting Crawford's inexperience at 168, Smith remained confident skill would win.
Let me tell you what I think should be though. The notion that Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes, 21 pounds, to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's entirely too small. Jamel Charlo already proved that. Y'all remember that scene from Rocky? Remember that scene from Rocky 2? When Carl Weathers was Apollo Creed and his trainer was like, can I be honest? I saw you beat this man within an inch of his life. And he kept coming. He wouldn't go away. He's wrong for us, baby. He's wrong. Let it go. Apollo couldn't do it. And lost fight number 2. Trained him for fight Rocky 3, and then got killed in Rocky 4 by Drago. Because he couldn't let it go. Bud Crawford needs to let it go. Too small.
Who takes it? Canelo's raw power or Crawford's sharpening IQ? Share your prediction in the comments below.